On the world news, U.S. President Joe Biden calls for ceasefire in Israel-Gaza violence. Cyclone Tauktae claims over 20 lives in India. Migrants reach Spain's Ceuta enclave in record numbers. Thanks for joining us on the World News. Good afternoon. I am Daisy Leo Asikidi. The Kaduna State government has declared the president of Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Wabba, and others wanted. This is contained in a tweet today by the state governor, Nasir El-Rufai, while giving an update on the protest in the state by Labour leaders yesterday. El-Rufai said Wabba and others at the NLC are wanted and that a handsome reward will be paid for information on their hideouts. The Kaduna State governor said the NLC and its protest displayed some unlawful actions. He accused the Congress of shutting down electricity, coercion, and restraint of personal freedom, trespass into public facilities, and denial of access to healthcare by several citizens, describing the action as an economic sabotage. Meanwhile, members of the Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday protested in Kaduna over the recent disengagement of over 7,000 civil servants at the state and local governments by the state government. In solidarity with the protest by the NLC, aviation workers shut down operations of Kaduna International Airport effective Sunday midnight. Ikpomusa Ogiagwe presents the report.
National Chairman of NLC, Ayuba Wabba, who led the protest, said due process was not observed in the recent disengagement of the workers from the local government service, State Universal Basic Education Board, and Primary Healthcare Agency. He said all the unions, including student unions and pensioners, are part of the protests as they are all directly affected by the disengagement of workers.
As we speak, all leadership of public sector unions in Kaduna State are here. Each of the unions that are affected by this neoliberal policy of throwing workers out of their jobs without respecting the clear provisions of our labor laws. The labor laws are very explicit, but here we are in a state. It's only in Kaduna State, in the whole 36 states, and let me be quoted, that threw workers out of their jobs without respecting the provisions of our laws.
Meanwhile, aviation workers under the aegis of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, Association of Nigeria Aviation Professionals, and National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers said the airport would remain shut for the period of the warning strike. Other affiliate unions, including the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas, National Union of Electricity Employees of Nigeria, National Union of Textile, Tailoring and Garment Workers of Nigeria, also participated in the protests. Reacting, Head of Service in the state, Bariatu Mohammed, described the action by NLC as a sabotage. She said the position of NLC will not change the decision of the state government to downsize the workforce.
NLC is aware that inflicting pain on citizens by locking hospitals and these public institutions, shutting down electricity will not change or affect the decision of Kaduna State government to right size. And it will not change our intention to use the Trade Union Act, which prohibits strike by essential service workers.
Ikpomusa Ogiagwe reporting.
The governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, yesterday sworn in Justice Joe Itsebaga Acha as the acting Chief Judge of the state, following the retirement of Justice Esther Edigin. The swearing-in ceremony held at the new Festival Hall, Government House, attracted the outgoing Chief Judge, Justice Esther Edigin, judges, Several dignitaries and family members of the new acting Chief Judge, Government House correspondent Patience Osogua, has details of the ceremony.
I, Joe Sebaka, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Justice Joe Acha subscribing to relevant oaths of office and thereafter signed relevant documents. Governor Obaseki said his administration will continue to support the judiciary to deliver on its core mandates to the public. He noted that apart from the judiciary, his administration is committed to transforming other sectors in the state.
I urge your Lordship to always take to heart the solemn oath which you have sworn here today, as your Lordship becomes the custodian of an institution which represents the last bastion of hope in our common existence. It is my desire and prayer that the justice sector under your Lordship's stewardship will continue to wax stronger as an institution.
Governor Obaseki promised to continuously support the new acting Chief Judge with tools and resources to move the judiciary into a technological age. He, however, charged the new acting Chief Judge to work towards the uplift of the state judiciary and the good people of Edo State.
We will support you by ensuring that we emphasize the welfare of all our judicial officers, particularly those in the magistracy. I want to assure your Lordship that these efforts will continue during your tenure and earnestly seek in return that the judiciary supports the daunting task of making Edo great again.
Justice Joe Acha expressed appreciation to Governor Obaseki for activating the provision of Section 271, Subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended to swear in acting Chief Judge of Edo State. He said the judiciary under his leadership will continue to work with other arms of government to ensure speedy development, peace and progress in the state.
I intend within the next few weeks and without prejudice to other long-term reforms as referred to by Your Excellency in the works, request for funds to do an in-house training for all our registrars and secretaries to enhance their productivity.
The acting Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Joe Acha, who hailed from Okpakpe, Esako East local government area of Edo State, was born on the 19th of May 1958 in Owo, present Ondo State. Patience Osogua reporting.
Outgoing Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Esther Edigi, has been described as one of the most courageous, upright, incorruptible, and an astute administrator. This was the remark by different stakeholders in the Edo State Judiciary at a valedictory court session held in her honor at the State High Court complex. Kingsley Uchegu has details.
The acting Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Joseph Acha, described the tenure of his predecessor as remarkable in view of the various developmental strides and capacity-building initiatives she brought to bear.
I rely on the undisputable fact that one of the most courageous, upright, honest, and equally good judges of our time in buying out of service with every hand, having clearly distinguished himself.
Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, State Minister of Justice, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Oluwole Iyamu, Chairman, Nigeria Bar Association, Benin Branch, Barrister Pius Oyewo, and spokesperson for the body of senior advocates, Henry Obodu, SAN, in their remarks, described the outgoing Chief Judge as a quintessential jurist who has etched her name in the Legal Hall of Fame. They said she did that through trainings and retrainings for judges and judiciary staff for increased productivity.
As the Chief Judge of Edo State, part of the vision of his Lordship was to establish in its best practice effective and efficient justice delivery system in Edo State. His Lordship relentlessly pursued a strong belief in due process and effective justice delivery through her judgments.
Honorable Justice Esther CJ, who is the focal person of this special court session, is undoubtedly one of those judges whose judgment is said to have died in prison circumstances. The scholarship in the course of her career on the High Court bench made notable corridors and bold pronouncements, which really have enhanced and enriched our legal jurisprudence, as there are instructive and reference and all who seek knowledge of the law. One of which is the case of Chief Ogoyefedo Eribo and 10 others versus Solomon Arasi and then the Attorney General of the Police, delivered on the 24th day of July 2019.
Representative of Oba of Benin, Obeware II, presented a copy of the Red Book, an anthology of Benin history, unveiling her stewardship. Outgoing Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Esther Edigin, noted that despite the problem of COVID-19 and attendant challenges, her tenure recorded tremendous landmark achievements. She listed them to include Edo State Multi-Door Courthouse, trainings and capacity building programs, alternative dispute resolution trainings, appointment of 8 new High Court judges, completion and handing over of the newly constructed ultra-modern High Court complex and judges' quarters, establishment of small claims court, amongst others.
I'm into ADR, mediation, conciliation and all that, so I have a consultative firm I'm going to join to continue to promote alternative dispute resolution. The high point of my tenure is the small claims courts and the promotion of the ADR through the settlement week, resolving cases through other means, through ADR other than litigation. And I pray that that area is explored more, because there you have friendly settlements as opposed to conflicts and rancor in litigation.
To retire in peace, to have a good rest and enjoy time of retirement after so many years of work. She's a lovely lady, so I wish her all the best things in the world.
Some guests at the event will include a retired Justice of the Court of Appeal, Tinuade Akomolafe Wilson, and others urged the retiring judge to avail the state and citizens of expert knowledge gained in decades of experience in the judiciary.
I wish her a blissful retirement. She has worked so hard as a judge, and this is the time for her to have time for her family.
That he has achieved the height he did now by a result of very hard work. A good judge, whose judgment is very clear and respectable.
Majesty has sent us with a royal gift that actually symbolizes good wishes for her. That shows that she has done a lot. That shows that the palace is pleased with her, and that shows that the palace wishes her well in her retirement.
High point of the valedictory court session was the unveiling of the Edo State Judiciary Complaints Handling Policy by Justice Esther Edigin. Justice Esther Edigin was sworn in on 22nd November 2019 as the 7th Chief Judge of the state and 4th female Chief Judge. Kingsley Uchebu reporting.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested the immediate past Governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fatai Ahmed. It has learned that the former governor was being grilled by men of the Anti-Graft Commission at its headquarters in Jabi, Abuja. Ahmed reportedly arrived at the EFCC headquarters about 10 a.m. yesterday in response to the invitation by the agency. EFCC spokesman Wilson Uwujarin confirmed that the former governor responded to the commission's invitation but declined further comments. State governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party have called for the devolution of power to states as one of the ways to tackle the disturbing trend of insecurity in the country. This formed part of many resolutions reached by the governors on Monday when they met in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, to further review the state of the nation. The governor stressed the need to take action to advance the conversation on what they described as the worsening security situation and collapsing economy of the nation. In a communique issued at the end of the deliberation, they asked President Muhammadu Buhari to urgently send an execution bill to the National Assembly. The bill, they noted, was to amend the Constitution to devolve more powers to the states with respect to security arrangements, culminating some form of state policing and the general security architecture. The governors also asked the president to convene a meeting of the Nigerian Police Council to develop strategies on how to combat the recent attacks on police formations, especially in the southern part of Nigeria. The federal government is affirming its fight against illicit financial and other corrupt practices through the implementation of its open government policy. This, according to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, will guarantee sustainable national development. The SGF gave the assertion at a media presentation of Nigeria's road to beneficial ownership, transparency in Abuja. Correspondent Dominic Ayemese has more.
The Open Government Partnership OGP is an international or multi-stakeholder initiative. Nigeria is in the process of implementing a beneficiary ownership transparency register.
We have sustained a regular multi-stakeholder forum to address challenges in the course of implementation of the plan.
For the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, this is in confirmation of President Muhammadu Buhari's drive in the fight against corruption.
The road to Nigeria's beneficial ownership transparency clearly demonstrates the positive results of the tremendous commitment of partners and resources collectively put together towards the progress made so far.
I believe an open register will build confidence among the people in strengthening open government and accountability.
If we fail to implement NAP2 and commitments like the Open Beneficiary Register, Nigeria fails, and the problems we are dealing with get worse. So we cannot afford to fail.
A non-profit organization focused on beneficial ownership register around the world. 70% of corruption cases involve the use of anonymous companies, and to that effect, over $1 billion has been recovered by governments using beneficial ownership data.
The media presentation of Nigerians' road to the beneficiary ownership transparency is part of activities for the 2021 Nigerian Open Government Partnership Week. Dominic Ayemese, ITV News, Abuja.
As the internal crisis rocking the Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party continues, the leadership of the party says it is finding lasting solutions to the crisis. Publicity Secretary of the party, Chris Neighai, who spoke in an exclusive interview with Bestumbere, said the party is not aware of any suspension of any leader of the party.
In the past few days, social media has been agog with reports of internal crisis rocking the Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, with many of the leaders not countering the negative publicity. It was rumored that some PDP leaders and members were fighting with those who came with Governor Godwin Obaseki from APC to join the party. However, the publicity secretary of the PDP in Edo State, Chris Neighai, said, contrary to insinuation and reports on the social media, the PDP and Governor Godwin Obaseki are on the same page. He said in any political party, there is bound to be disagreement, especially with the change of government. Chris Neighai said they have met with other leaders of the party, adding that issues affecting the party occasioned by the misunderstanding will soon be addressed.
It is right for us to emphasize that Edo PDP and the state government are on the same page. Our party is one united party, unbreakable. We've consulted with a wide range of our leadership, and we're all in agreement that whatever is going on should stop forthwith. We must all come together to deliver the dividend of democracy to Edo people. That is the main reason of being a government, and that is the main aim why our party PDP was set up, and that is our agenda. I'm not aware of suspension here and there. If any suspensions have been going on, I don't think we at the state level have not received any correspondence to say anybody has been suspended. We are fine. There's nothing going on. The rumor mongers will be put to shame as usual. And those that are spreading falsehood and propaganda, they will be disappointed when they find out that they have been spreading lies, not just against the governor or against the party, but against Edo people.
Mr. Nekai said in the next couple of days, the party will make its stand on the contending matters known to the public. Best Mbiere reporting.
2 persons, Mr. Ohwemose Omodio and Genesis Orji, who were murdered during a crisis at Olugbo, have been buried. Crime correspondent Wellington Akodaja reports that Olugbo community was literally thrown into mourning during the burial.
The release of the bodies of Mr. Okwomose Omodio and Genesis Orji from the morgue of Stella Obasanjo Hospital, Benin, followed a court order as requested by the bereaved family after over 1 year in the mortuary. The release of the bodies of the young men attracted large turnout of sympathizers and family members who converged to bid farewell to their own. At their arrival at separate burial grounds in Olugbo Dukedom, tears flowed uncontrollably as those gathered could not control their emotions on the demise of Omodio and Genesis Orji. After a brief sermon by a religious minister and the rites of dusk to dusk performed, the duo were lowered into the ground. Some family members were, however, optimistic that justice will be done on the matter, as 3 suspects who allegedly were responsible for the murder of their breadwinner are facing trial.
We are not happy because our elder brother and Okwomose died with the gunshot. We are begging the government. We want justice to prevail.
I want to use this panel to appeal to the government that those who are involved in this murder of late Henry Okwomose should be brought to book speedily.
You're watching the world news on independent television. Still to come, U.S. President Joe Biden calls for ceasefire in Israel-Gaza violence. You can watch ITV News on Roku TV in UK, America, Africa, and other parts of Europe. Also on Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV. View us on TSTV channel 364, Star Times channel 130, and Gold TV channel 107. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at ITV Radio NG. Watch our programs from our website at www.itvradionnigeria.com. You can also reach us via our Instagram at ITVNG. Download the ITV app from the mobile app store. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. U.S. President Joe Biden has voiced his support for a ceasefire after 8 days of violence between Israel and Palestinian militants in Gaza. Mr. Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that the U.S. was working with Egypt and other countries on halting the hostilities. Deborah Ogwefun has details.
Expressing concern over the violence that erupted between Israel and Palestine militants in Gaza, which has claimed the lives of at least 212 people, including women and children, in Gaza, President Joe Biden expressed his support for a ceasefire and discussed U.S. engagement with Egypt and other partners towards that end. White House spokeswoman Jane Kane told reporters that President Joe Biden and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are having conversations behind the scenes as the most constructive approach to end the violence. Other world leaders and humanitarian organizations have also called for measures to prevent the death of residents and chaos due to the destruction of buildings and infrastructure. The U.S., which is one of Israel's strongest allies, has once again blocked efforts at the UN Security Council to issue a statement calling on Israel to stop its military offensive. The conflict, which enters its second week with no sign of ending has seen Israel conducting another airstrikes in Gaza early this morning, and its army said dozens of rockets were also fired into the territory overnight. On Tuesday, Israel said at least 150 militants were among those killed in Gaza. Hamas, the Palestinian militant group that runs the territory, does not give casualty figures for fighters. The UN Secretary Council has so far held 3 emergencies meetings on the violence, with more to come. Deborah Ubefun reporting.
The U.S. White House has said President Joe Biden has brought back a U.S. presidential tradition by releasing his tax return. The tax report release shows that President and his wife earned over $607,000 US last year and paid over $157,000 in federal income tax. The document released on Monday also showed that during the busy election campaign year, the Bidens paid a federal income tax rate of 25.9%. In the same vein, the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff, also released their joint tax return for 2020. Former President Donald Trump refused to release his tax returns, the first president not to do so since the Watergate era. Mr. Trump claimed he was not able to do so as he was being audited by the Internal Revenue Service, the U.S. government's tax collection agency. And now to end the world news, a look at our top story. U.S. President Joe Biden has voiced the support for a ceasefire after 8 days of violence between Israel and Palestinian militants in Gaza. Mr. Biden told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that the U.S. was working with Egypt and other countries in halting the hostilities. The violence has claimed the lives of at least 212 people, including women and children, in Gaza. On behalf of the news producer Deborah Ogbefun, I am Daisy Leo Asikidi. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.
Independent television news, truly